first one is, let's begin how we slowly begin with. And let me just go to Dr. Shareef. How were you as a child?
How was I as a child? I would say being inquisitive in nature, it's a kind of double-edged sword. So it helps you to learn having curiosity, but
Mhm.
it gets comments from teachers that parents don't always appreciate. So they will say things like, he would talk too much, he wouldn't give the opportunity to the other students, and so on and so forth. My mother's memory of me at a young age was at age 3 in preschool, telling the teacher when she asked me to pick up something that it's not my responsibility to do that. So my mother was concerned. She said, this is not a respectful thing. The teacher said, no, it's a sign that maybe he will be uh, having leadership qualities in the future. Don't stifle that. So my mother, alhamdulillah, was very supportive and created the conducive environment for me to learn and to grow, alhamdulillah.
Today's teenagers are more mature. They're very sure of what they want. Sheikh, Ustad, what would you like to say on that?
I would say teenagers have a new set of challenges
Mhm.
because they're bombarded with so much. So there's so much going on, whether it's global warming or COVID or world crises, whether it's social media and information overload. So despite the fact that they may be maturing, they may be growing faster, they may have access to many things, they can become entrepreneurs from the youngest of age online. It opens many opportunities, but it also creates many challenges. How do I filter all this information? How do I view the world? Through what lens should I understand things? And should I process all of this information to make sure that it doesn't harm me or I don't get misguided along the way? So I think
Very
there
nice.
are great opportunities for the youth, and they can make a huge impact and change in the world in a way that previous generations could not, perhaps. But at the same time, there are big challenges and possible even dangers and obstacles there that we should help to guide our youth through, inshallah.
I love to hear Ustad Shareef. One subject you would click, and I wish you were my teacher, though I've not met him. And I love the way, the gravity of the words that you use. So, if there was a subject you would take, which one would that be, and why?
What's happened in our education system is it's been separated from our values. So you
Mhm.
can find that a Harvard professor will say after 30 years of lecturing there, we produced the best people for the job market, but we didn't really produce the best human beings. So you find you have people who graduated from Ivy League universities. They were the cause of the financial crisis and collapse of the world. And their knowledge empowered them, but they used it in a greedy way. They hurt
Beautiful.
thousands or millions of people, and they didn't mind doing so because the education system didn't teach them to be kind or generous or compassionate, didn't teach them how to be good people. So I think this
So
is a
true.
big problem. If we just give people facts and information, against this is a tool, they may use it for good or evil. So we have to also guide people how to be good and decent human beings. Otherwise, what's the point? I would rather have a kind person who's ignorant in certain sciences than a person who's a great scientist but not a decent human being.
Someone who's very passionate about teaching, Ustad Shareef, what drew you to education and the world of Dawah, and you could have been in some astrophysics and doing some research out there.
When you love something and you're passionate about it, then you should have a strong desire to share. And we talked about being a decent human being. Decent people, they believe there's enough for everyone and they want to share. And knowledge is something that is abundant. And the more people you share it with, the better it will be for you. So it doesn't deplete the knowledge you have by giving. So if you have
So true.
knowledge, you
Wow.
also have a zakat on that knowledge. The more you know, the more you owe to others to share that knowledge. If you believe it's something good and beneficial, you should give it to others. Otherwise, what's the point of having it? Just to hoard it to yourself? No, definitely. If you know something, then you want to pass it on to your children, your loved ones, your friends, your family. And if you have enough passion and capability, then pass it on even to the world and society at large.
Ustad Sharif, if now this is a hypothetical question. Let's say your son comes and says, I want to get into politics, and you say, no, no, sports is a better option. Between the two, which one would you have asked him to join?
I think
Go to Dawa.
for me, the goal is how can you do good through what you're good at? So a person can do good as an engineer or a doctor or an athlete. There are so many fields out there that you can still make a contribution and you can do things beyond your job. So I think this concept also of my career defines my identity is wrong.
Wow, subhanallah, that's so beautiful.
My job is a job. You know, I work it to earn money, for example. It doesn't have to be everything that defines my existence and my personality. I've changed my career multiple times, and I think that's natural. No longer does somebody start at a company and work there for 40 years and then retire. That doesn't happen anymore. So the expectation is, according to all HR studies, you will reinvent yourself and change your career multiple times throughout your life. So what you need are skills to learn, skills to be valuable, skills to be flexible. So if we give our children the right skills, then they can go into any field and they can learn and they can jump. And I have friends who have jumped from one
So
career
true.
to another, which is a totally different industry, and they succeeded and did well because they had the right skills.